Now, with 1 day to go, the president of Firefly just announced or just released some important information which I think as investors you need to know. I mean, on the screen you notice that for the Firefly sub-brand, the president indicated that they are targeting 10 to 20,000. There is a market, they can sell 10 to 20,000, but he said there's nothing wrong with selling a couple of thousands, but there is a market of between 10 to 20,000. So it therefore means that for Firefly, the most that Firefly can do maybe in a month is 20,000. There is a market of between 10 to 20,000, which is something that is so great because we know at least where they are working around, because you will know that the new CEO, I think it was during the Q3 earnings, he did say that for Firefly, they are targeting like 5,000 on a month to month. And the president of Firefly coming and saying that they are targeting 10 to 20,000, or there is a market of between 10 to 20,000. It is something that is pretty exciting. But like I said, he said there's no problem with several thousand units. So he's saying that even if they're going to get to that 10,000, as long as they're selling quite number of units, but I think there is a market. This just confirms that they might be targeting somewhere between 10 and 20,000, which is why this model, because it's small, it was made more for outside of China, because in China the population is a lot, right? It's too much. It's understandable because people who want to buy cars will usually go for a bigger car sizes. Majority of the people will go for bigger cars because of families, because of the number of population that is in China right now. It does not really make much sense unless you are buying this as a second or third car, right? You can go for it. But if you are a family man, maybe, who knows, Firefly might not be that brand for you, which is why I think even the president of Firefly is saying the market for this sub brand, it's around 10 to 20,000, meaning that on average they are expecting to sell like 15,000 for Firefly, which is still good because it will boost, of course, the sales. But in Europe, outside Europe, we'll talk about that's a different ball game, which is why the model ET5 Touring that NIO made, they were making it primarily for Europe, because those kind of cars, they usually do well there, whereas in China those cars don't do well. But here's something that is quite interesting and surprising. Though that model ET5 Touring was made for Europe, we saw it doing exceptionally well, and we continue to seeing it doing so well in China, meaning that even for this one, they might get a surprise seeing it doing the most. You will know that the direct competitor for this Firefly sub-brand is none other than Mini Cooper. But with NIO, they say that with this one, they are also going for the ultra high end for small cars. So they are taking it to the next level. If you think Mini Cooper is great, wait until you hear what NIO has got for you from this Firefly sub-brand. So man, we are looking forward to tomorrow. And like I said, what the president of Firefly said is just something that it's so amazing. I mean, we read yesterday, you know, that we're discussing that yes, this car is going to be launched in China tomorrow, but also in Europe, which I suppose is the market they are really targeting with this one. It will only be launched in Q1 of 2025, which is pretty good, pretty decent, because there I think this model might do exceptionally well. I mean, there are quite a number of things that also, I mean, there is another thing which he said about Firefly, which this one I think it will also be a good selling point. I mean, he said Firefly is a global car and different adjustments have been made based on the needs of different markets around the world. So it's just not made based on the needs of China, but it is also made based on the needs of outside of China. And I think this should be Europe, right? I think it is for this reason that the NIO's executives have told us time and time again to say that in terms of safety standards, it was made according to European standards to make sure that it passes, it is up there, it can compete even in Europe, which is something that is pretty good. I know some of the people, the fact of them hearing that it won't be sharing the same battery swapping station as that of NIO, it's not good. They are angry because of that, or it makes them to be sad. But I think Neo, together with Firefly, President, they have said that the reason is because the Firefly's batteries are too small, and therefore because of this they can't use or utilize Neo's existing swapping infrastructure. But the good thing is that they said, or Neo said, it's easier to deploy this because it will be small battery swapping stations for Firefly, and therefore it should not be a train smash. They can be able to deploy as many as possible because it is easier, cheaper to make, which is something that is pretty good. So ignore the day-to-day movements, man. I mean, I know we wanted Firefly to use the same network, but this is a small car. Onvo, Neo, they are big cars, and when it comes to chassis adjustments, obviously there is a lot that if they want Firefly to do, they will need to do a lot. I mean, the chassis for the Firefly don't meet that size of chassis for Onvo and Neo, because this is a small car. I mean, a chassis, you'll know that sometimes it's bigger depending on how big the car is, and obviously Firefly, because it's a small car, it will have a small chassis, whilst Onvo and Neo will have bigger chassis. And by the way, a chassis, this is where they mount the screws. So when they remove the battery from the car, it is being unscrewed from the chassis. And you will know with Neo models and Onvo, their cars are quite big enough. But if Firefly it's small, it means that its chassis will also be small. So the existing Neo's battery swapping station can't perform the battery swap onto Firefly because of that situation, that whole dynamic, because the car is just small compared to current Neo and Onvo models. So yeah, man, I am happy, I am excited. Just thought I'd give you this quick updates. Tell me what you think about this. 10 to 20,000 is what Onvo President is targeting, and I think we are going to get it. I think we just need to brace ourselves for what's coming, because if I know one thing is that it is that blue sky is coming. Those that are persevering will most definitely be rewarded with time. So ignore the naysayers, ignore the short sellers, the manipulators, and focus on where Neo could be in the next year. I mean, just picture this: Neo being able to sell 20,000 of their sub-brand Firefly, being able to sell 30,000 of their Onvo sub-brand, and also 20,000 of Neo. This simply means that we could easily see Neo, who knows, by before the end of next year, being able to sell 60,000 vehicles, which is something that's great, something that is amazing. So I look forward, the future is bright. That's all from me. Do your own due diligence, and I'll see you in my next video, and God bless you all.